As I'm sure you guys already know, I love villains that are purely evil for no other reason than simply just being evil.
I jerked you off.
But on the slight occasion, a villain that is redeeming themselves is great to watch when it's done correctly. In this video, I will break down 3 different redemption arcs that I think prove there's good in all people.
I'm over here stroking my dick.
Besides a certain few. But before I get into the video, look at this. It's amazing. Thank you so much for 10K. Seriously, you guys are the best. Subscribe, please. Now, you can't talk about redemption arcs and not include the one and the only Darth Vader. Not only is he one of the greatest villains in fiction, but Anakin's story will leave a motherfucker in tears. I mean, just think about it. In The Phantom Menace, he starts off as a slave on Tatooine.
You're a slave? I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
Spits game at a strangely old Padme and is friend-zoned. Qui-Gon ends up taking him to the Jedi Council, and he's told he's the chosen one and is set to set balance to the Force. Then Qui-Gon dies, leaving his future fate to Obi-Wan and a group of genuine D1 haters.
You bitch.
Especially these guys.
Do you support racism?
Then in the next movie, he's friend-zoned by Padme once again. Please save him. Left to deal with this shit.
The closer I get to you, the worse it gets.
I'm telling you, everybody gotta die if you caught me lacking like this. Then his mom died, which leads to the massacre of all the women and all the children, the men too, which Padme bizarrely doesn't seem to find concerning.
Every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children too.
And then Dooku whoops his ass, no diff style, and takes his arm. By the 3rd movie, he thinks Padme is going to die in childbirth, so he does everything he can to save her life. He asked the Jedi for help, but Yoda is really not helping him out.
You fat, you stink, and you ugly, and you broke, monkey.
And then he's denied the rank of Master, the chosen one, by the way, being put under constant manipulation by Palpatine. Then he starts choking out his wife and killing everybody, and then finally getting all of his limbs cut off by Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Now, if you think about it, without counting the Clone Wars animated show, Anakin takes a lot of L's and gets his ass beat a lot through these movies.
Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right?
Fuck no, baby.
This dude Palpatine is a liar. I swear he's the best villain of all time. He kills Padme, in my opinion, and then Vader just accepts his fate to be Palpatine's bitch for the next 20 years. But then the OT rolls around and Darth Vader's story takes a complete turn. He is met with the saving grace and the foundation of his redemption arc, my glorious King Luke. Something that a lot of redemption arc villains have in common is there's always another character that sees a different side to them. After countless failed attempts, the final scene in the Death Star in Return of the Jedi is where we witness the redemption of Darth Vader. With Palpatine shocking the absolute shit out of Luke as he begs for his life, Vader has a moment of realization about Anakin, Padme, his children, and his life as a Jedi. He throws the Emperor into the reactor shaft, saving Luke. You see the rise, then the fall, then the deeper fall, and then eventually the rise of Anakin Skywalker.
No.
Then the sequels rolls around and, you know, pretty much destroying everything about the prequels and the original trilogy, not only with Vader, but almost every Star Wars character that's somewhat important, but we don't talk about that. In my opinion, Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender has the best redemption arc ever created. If you're a fan of this show, you know all about Zuko's redemption arc. You know it's not an easy one. If you remember, he was genuinely one of the most insufferable characters ever in season 1.
I don't need any calming tea. I need to capture the Avatar.
Disgusting!
All he cared about was restoring his honor, capturing the Avatar, and putting that whack-ass cut in a ponytail. He was annoying as hell, whiny, entitled, and my least favorite character in the beginning of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Are you sure about that?
Maybe not my least favorite character. That belongs to the undeniable trash that is this dude. But the more you learn about Zuko, the more compassion you grow for his character. After Zuko Alone, the best Avatar: The Last Airbender episode, you finally see the side of Zuko that he's been trying to bottle the entire season. I mean, daddy issues, sibling rivalry, abuse in the Fire Nation, countless defeats. I mean, this had me feeling bad for this man.
And suffering
will be your teacher. I looked away.
Oh my goodness!
Much like Darth Vader, Zuko had a saving grace character too, my beloved Uncle Iroh. Iroh didn't want to see Zuko make the same mistakes he did, and he saw him as his second son, if you will.
Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you. Lead from the vine.
Iroh knew the true evil behind the Fire Nation and the war, and he wanted to teach Zuko that life is not always black and white. This alone doesn't make Zuko's redemption arc great, but what happens at the end of book 2 does. When Zuko has the chance to redeem himself and fight the good fight, he decides to abandon all that he's learned from his journey and decides to betray the gang and Iroh himself.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Gaining the respect of the Fire Nation, and more importantly his father, was still more important to him than doing the right thing. It was only after Iroh, who still hadn't given up on him, gave him the story of Avatar Roku and Fire Lord Sozin, telling him that Avatar Roku was his great-grandfather on his mother's side. This finally allowed him to light the path to leaving his honor in the Fire Nation in one of the best scenes in television history.
We need to replace it with an era of peace and kindness.
Your uncle has gotten to you, hasn't he?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what
Yes, he has.
This shit means something to me, man.
God, this shit was peak. After joining and proving himself with Team Avatar, he reunites with Iroh in a scene that's powerful enough to make a grown man cry.
I'm so sorry, Uncle. I am so sorry and ashamed of what I did. I don't know how I can ever make it up to you, but
Then to defeating Azula and the Agni Kai, saving Katara, who had the most doubt in him when he joined the gang. I mean, from season 1 to the end of the show, Zuko grew from my most hated character to my second favorite character in the whole series. Aang is still on top. Alas, the reason I wanted to make this video, in more recent fiction, I see a redemption arc that's happening live, and that would be A-Train from The Boys. Now, I do have a lot to say about The Boys Season 4. Not all of it being positive. New video coming out, so stay tuned. But despite all that, A-Train's redemption is too good not to be mentioned. In episodes 6 and 7 of The Boys Season 4, besides some of the strange plot points in the Tech Diddy party, I cannot deny that the A-Train subplot redemption arc is absolute heat. A-Train is a member of the Seven. He has to be evil, just like the rest of them, right?
No.
I mean, he did obliterate Huey's girlfriend, he overdosed Popclaw, he got Supersonic killed by leaking plans to Homelander, and he's turned a blind eye many times, and a lot of the other vile shit that's common in the Boys universe. But like I said, like the other two in this video, A-Train has characters that are trying very hard to influence him to go in the better direction. At first, it's his brother that has always been against the Seven and the A-Train image, but in the recent season, MM is acting as his mentor and his saving grace. Throughout season 4, A-Train has been a problem for the Seven. He agreed to get Huey's Compound V for his dad, even though that was short-lived. He saved Starlight and Butcher from Black Noir and the Deep. Real quick, before I go on to it, what did I tell you about Black Noir, man? I knew he was gonna be a problem. Come on, now do not doubt me on these things. But back to base, in episode 6, he has one of the best scenes in The Boys when he rushes MM to the hospital after he had a panic attack and is met with a young kid that is standing on the sidewalk near the hospital. This kid looks at A-Train for the first time in his life as a true hero. Absolute cinema. I think what they're doing with A-Train in this season has been fantastic, so if you want to complain about season 4, A-Train is not going to be on that list. While I do think purely evil villains are still the best type of villain, I do love me some sappy redemption villains too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments which villains you think have the best redemption arc and what else you'd like me to talk about. I'll see you guys in the next video.